Good, happy Thursday morning. It's Thursday, November 14, 2024. I'm Riley King, and welcome to Riley's Kingdom of News right here on WRMK News Radio. We got a jam-packed broadcast to get to on this Thursday morning, so let's get started right now. First up, balance of power. Republicans maintain control of U.S. House of Representatives. Let's take a listen to that report from WMUR News 9.
And right to breaking election news. ABC News is projecting Republicans will maintain control of the U.S. House of Representatives. A race in California and Arizona gave the GOP the final 2 seats needed to reach the 218 threshold. That number could now grow with 9 races still in play.
Okay, and there you go on that report. We want to hear from you. Email us right now with your thoughts and opinions at rknetwork1995@gmail.com. Thousands of New Hampshire voters chose not to vote for any of the major presidential candidates. Let's take a listen to that report.
When Rick Smith went to the polls last week, he looked at the top of the ticket and he just knew he wasn't ready to vote for any of the names in front of him.
I felt like none of the major party candidates represented me, so I had to write in somebody.
State data shows that he's one of about 11,000 Granite Staters this year who decided not to vote for any of those major or third-party presidential candidates, which means they either filled out multiple options, left it blank altogether, or like Rick, wrote in a name.
Some people write in Mickey Mouse, right, just as a protest vote, but I wanted to put someone's name down that I felt like actually represents my values.
Rick ended up putting down Dr. Ron Paul's name, a former presidential candidate, saying he feels like a political orphan of sorts.
I think being undeclared like that gives me that ability to move around politically as to where I think it aligns with my beliefs.
Even though the numbers are still coming in, data shows that millions of Americans may have done the same. Secretary of State David Scanlon says historically, most people show up just to vote for president. But this isn't unheard of, especially with a hard-fought governor's race.
When you have an election like this one, there may be some voters that did not like their choices, period.
Rick says he always votes from the bottom of the ticket up and hopes others will think more about local races too.
So you should worry more about what's closer to home that can actually affect you than who's sitting, in Washington, D.C.
And again, Scanlon said that it was that governor's race that really might have been a draw for people, even if they weren't thrilled about who was at the top of the ticket. We're live in Manchester tonight. Ariel Metropolis, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that report. President-elect Trump nominates Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. Let's take a listen to that report from WMUR News 9. And also send in your thoughts and opinions on, did you vote for president or did you skip that one and just vote for local races? Let me know. I want to hear from you.
A close ally of President-elect Donald Trump, now nominated to one of the most powerful jobs in Washington. Matt Gaetz tapped to serve as Attorney General for the incoming administration. The nomination even surprising some top-ranking Republicans.
If the nomination proceeds, I'm sure that there will be an extensive background check by the FBI and public hearings and a lot of questions asked.
The 42-year-old Florida congressman has been a vocal backer of the president-elect, though he's never served as a prosecutor. House Speaker Mike Johnson says Gaetz has already resigned his seat in Congress.
It's completely unprecedented, right? I mean, he's a very odd choice to be Attorney General. He did go to law school.
UNH law professor Daniel Pai says Gaetz' nomination paves the way for the Trump administration to move forward with top policy priorities, especially around immigration enforcement.
How aggressively prosecutors go after immigration violations, the nature of the remedies that they seek are all going to be things that are within the internal policy guidelines that the Attorney General sets.
Pai says there may not be big changes for rank-and-file members of the DOJ, but he does expect to see Gaetz' influence at the highest levels, especially around the pending criminal cases against the president-elect.
Jack Smith's prosecutions of Trump at the federal level, things like that are going to change in character, and that will be much more subject to political oversight.
And Gates, along with other top-level appointees like Rubio and Gabbard, will need Senate approval. The U.S. Senate is now firmly in Republican hands, so these nominations will be one of the first big tests of President-elect Donald Trump's influence over the Republican caucus. Ross Ketchy, WMUR News 9.
Okay, we want to hear from you, your thoughts and opinions on this. Email us right now at rknetwork1995@gmail.com. That's rknetwork1995@gmail.com. Executive Council approves a contract to replace Bedford tolls with all-electric tolling.
New tonight, the booths at the Bedford tolls on the Everett Turnpike will be going away, but the tolls themselves will be staying. Today, the Executive Council approved a $16 million contract to remove the plaza and replace it with all electronic tolling. We've reported multiple times on cars like this one here that have crashed into the existing plaza. Similar projects have been carried out on the Spalding Turnpike already at the tolls in Dover and Rochester. Instead of paying cash, for instance, cameras take pictures of cars without any Easy Pass and then send a bill to the registered owner in the mail. It is all expected to be completed by 2027.
Okay, and there you go on that report. Trump-Biden meet at the White House. Let's take a listen to that report.
In a time when so much change is happening here in Washington, there was a return to tradition today at the White House. President-elect Donald Trump made a cordial fireside appearance alongside his longtime political foe, President Joe Biden. We'll get more now from CBS's Ed O'Keefe at the White House.
Given their bitter rivalry, it was an encounter many thought could never happen. But today, in front of a roaring fire, the current and future president exhibited warmth.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. And looking forward to having, like we said, a smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need. And we're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. So, welcome.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much. And politics is tough. And it's, in many cases, not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. And a transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Jim.
You're welcome. They conferred in the Oval Office for nearly 2 hours, discussing domestic issues, plus the wars in the Middle East and Ukraine.
President Biden reinforced his view that the United States standing with Ukraine on an ongoing basis is in our national security interest.
The meeting was designed to launch the kind of seamless transition Trump didn't give Biden in 2020 as he challenged the election results. January 6th would then set off a firestorm, with Trump skipping President Biden's inauguration, the turmoil setting the tone for this year's bitter election. Now, traditionally, the First Lady also hosts a tea for her incoming successor, but Melania Trump didn't come today. Dr. Jill Biden gave Trump a handwritten letter of congratulations for Mrs. Trump and said she's ready to assist with her transition. Nora?
Ed O'Keefe at the White House. Ed, thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that report. We want to hear from you right now. Email us your thoughts and opinions on this at rknetwork1995@gmail.com. That is rknetwork1995@gmail.com. Hey, that does it for this edition of Riley's Kingdom of News right here on WRMK News Radio. Thank you for tuning in and listening, and have a great Thursday. Bye, everyone.